Call of Duty League is brought to you by Metro by T-Mobile. Stay connected to what matters most with the best value in wireless.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It was a relatively quick first series of the day, but the second series about to get underway. But before we get there, joined, of course, as always, by Chance and the wonderful analyst that is Nameless. And Nameless, I know we don't have a lot of time because they want to get the game going as quickly as possible, so I want to just dive straight in. I want to try and utilize as much time as I have with you to get all the insight possible. So I guess we'll just go straight into game fuel keys to victory. We'll start with Dallas for this next series.
Yeah, Clay and Krim need to perform better. They both had like a .86 and a .92 at the last tournament. It's the veterans that need to play well for them to consistently win championships. If you remember back when they were like dominant, Clayster took over in that finals against FaZe. Like, he was just incredible. Like, he was a big reason that they were just cruising. I think Clay is one of the most important parts of this team. Like, Shotzzy and Hook have been incredible. Sure. Illy is there from time to time. You know what you're getting out of him right now. I think it's just Clay. If he's on point, that team becomes unbeatable. So I'll be looking at him to see if he's fixed it for this tournament.
Okay, and then moving quickly on, London Royal Ravens, of course, Dallas Empire opponents to the second game of the day. For them, I know you put a lot of attention on Zero.
Yeah, Zero, I mean, what a huge pickup for them, right? Like, he comes into the team and he's absolutely dominant. Like, Dylan looks a lot better. The team looks a lot better as a unit. And I think he just took a lot of pressure off the rest of these guys, like Wuskin, to get too many kills, right? Like, Zero statistically was their lead slayer at the tournament. He was absolutely fantastic. I want him to pick up where he left off and see if they can make a run here.
Yeah, I know that's going to be a very, very important chance. We're pretty impressed, to be honest, with Zero's first performance for London.
Yeah, no, he's been great. Like, it seems like there's so many weird roster changes we've had this year of, like, is this going to work out? Are they going to have success? And, like, Zero obviously is a fantastic player, but he did not look fantastic on the Subliner, so there was a little bit of concern, I would say, for me at least, of, like, when he makes the transition, how's he going to look after that? Exceeded expectations, right back to normal. That's sort of, maybe not quite MVP form, but very close to it.
Definitely agree, though. I think, for me, all eyes on Zero this series. Nameless, game number one's about to get underway. It was short, but it was sweet. Thank you so much for your wonderful insights, your capable keys to victory. As when we talk big picture, though, about this series, Chance, I think it's important to mention that we have seen this series once so far this season. London fans, I'm sorry I have to bring it up. It was heartbreaking. London went 2-0 up, Dallas Empire reverse sweep. And we'll talk a little bit more about that past series and how this series as well will look, because there are going to be a couple of similarities that will come through. Admittedly, it was a long time ago, but either way, there may be some relevant little bits of information. But as I said, game number one already underway, and London have started off pretty strong there in the kill feed.
Absolutely, and I think they need to get off to a strong start too, because you talk about all the different storylines that we've been building throughout this year, head-to-head matchups, whatever it's going to be. I think the most important one at this point is the CDL points. Yes. So, like, obviously, right now, Dallas are sitting in third. I think they're 20 points behind the Huntsmen, and yes, they want the top 2 spot, but they're very comfortable for, like, securing a top 4. Like, it would be insane if they somehow fell off. On the flip side, though, for the side of the Ravens, they're currently in 6th place, but they're 40 points away from jumping up a single spot to get the 5th, and that's assuming, of course, Minnesota doesn't get any more points down the line. So 40 points to move a spot up, and then moving down, and again, the Ravens are in the 6th seed, 40 points between them and the team that is in the 12th spot. So basically, you just have a degree of separation. Of the teams at the top are great. They're nice and comfortable. We all know who they are at this point. But then the teams at the bottom, it is a bloodbath because every single team has started to turn up, started to look so much better than they had at the start of the year. So I think right now this is a tournament for the Ravens where pressure's kind of on. Like, if you start faltering now and they're going against very difficult competition, there is many, many options of teams beneath them that could potentially catch them.
Just to kind of build on that, I spoke to League Ops earlier on in the week, and they gave me some information. All teams are still able to make top 8. In actual fact, all teams are still able to make top 4 in our standings. So we are seeing that separation now, absolutely, but it isn't too late. You can still turn your season around, and when we talk CDL standings later on in the day, of course, we'll really emphasize why it is so important that you finish high up. But in terms of this game, so far already, it's Dallas starting to give themselves a little bit of a lead, and it's Illy starting off so strong, 9-4. Hook with a slow start statistically, but not really going to matter all that much as we're going to rotate over now towards P3.
And Illy right now being the guy that having the best game statistically at least is interesting, because it seems like he's been the one guy on the roster that is talked about the least, in spite of the fact that he's a very talented player. He's incredibly smart as well. Like, he has so many underrated qualities that I think just don't get noticed. And again, not because he's been doing poorly at all, just because of how like good some of his teammates have been at different times in all the storylines. So nice to see him maybe get a little bit.
Definitely deserves a little bit more spotlight. That's for sure. Over on P3, it looks like Dallas will break once again. Dylan going to try and fly through the front. Of course, he was a superstar last year. He's had a slow start to finding form, but it seems as if last time we saw him play, at least he found a little bit of that old passion. Not necessarily to say that he's played bad this year by any means, but definitely not superstar status. He can change things here, and he's going to need to. A big performance definitely needed against Dallas Empire.
Of course, now towards the actual hill, you're going to have a straight-up 1v1 gunfight. That Clayster's the one that comes out on top. And while you say 1v1, he does get chopped down. But just because Clay was able to win that, you see the pressure that it brought his teammates just to make sure you secure, lock down those extra 10, 15 seconds. And hey, it goes the way of you. Means your opponent does not get that. And that is going to let Dallas get nice little 40-point lead. Not the most comfortable, but obviously the rotation's there. They got mid-map cut off. You got Illy inside the hill. They're hanging out. They're looking good.
Biggest lead of the game so far. And whilst Illy's inside the hill, you can see the pressure Shotzzy and Crim are trying to put on the London spawns. Unfortunately for Shotzzy, not able to pick up a double. So London will retain spawns for now, but keep your eye on that minimap. Those blue arrows putting pressure. Shotzzy once again, number 6, already trying to go on another flank here for London. Bear in mind, there's still 30 seconds left on the current hill, and Dallas have been getting every single second of hill time. This is almost perfect play so far for Dallas, and if Shotzzy can be impactful here and make the play on the flank, it could be bad news for London. He only finds himself 1, but London are feeling the pressure, and you can see they're starting to spawn a little bit out thanks to the pressure Clay's putting on.
And this is going to be interesting as well, because as you pointed out, basically a near perfect hill coming in from the side of Empire, and that means the pressure right now on the Ravens, they're going to need not necessarily a full 60, but a good chunk of time. They're going to need a good hold here just to start working their way back into the game, because 90 points is quite a big deficit.
It's pretty sizable at this point in the game. You're absolutely right. A quick break here for Dallas is going to be heartbreaking for London. They need to hold. They need to stop the momentum here from Dallas Empire, otherwise this game could be running away from them already in the first rotation. A nice flank from Illy. He'll find 1. There's number 2. Can he find 3? Yes, he can! Illy walks into the hill, finds everyone from London, shuts them down, and he isn't done just yet. Hardpoint still going to be contested. 1 more at the front. There's 0. Illy going on a rampage inside the hill. There's another to his name. Dallas are steamrolling away in map number 1.
And it's just too easy. That was the first time Illy had even been shot at in the past 5 gunfights he just had to take. Basically the perfect break, again, coming in from Empire, the perfect rotation, and the big plays showing up as well. So they needed, at least the Ravens did, to have a very strong hold, but instead of being down by 90 points and chipping away at that, now they're down by more than 100. So even when the Ravens are given a very good situation, they are not able to make really anything of it.
Illy double positive as things stand as we now go over towards our second rotation of hills. 21 and 10, the stat line at that rotation. 0. How impactful he was for London. Can he try and be a catalyst to turn things around in the second half of game number 1? So far, it's not looking good at all for London Royal Ravens. Dallas have just been all over them. Their control of spawns has been damn near flawless. Their hill breaks have been fantastic, and more importantly, their hill holds have been just as good. Because of that, the lead's still starting to spiral out of control. The saving grace for London so far, Chance, is they have the spawns for P2, but considering the time that Dallas is getting on P1, great, have 60 on P2. I don't think Dallas is going to care at all. They still have such a big lead.
I mean, again, it's every single hill that you think Ravens are in a decent spot. They were up by, 90 points? Well, they had a good hill, and then they were down by 100. Now you go to P1, and now they're down by 140. It seems like the situation doesn't matter, good or bad for the Empire. They're going to find a way to make the best of it. Now this is situation number 5, where Ravens are in a good spot. They got the hold. We need to see if this is finally the time where they can make good use of it, and Wuskins might just be that guy. Picks up 3 big kills, makes his teammates' job
I'll tell you what, Wuskins done so well there. Just stay alive and find the pick as hoop bunny hump straight at him. He did wonderful to stay alive, and it's actually, as a quick glance at the stats, Shawnee, who is struggling massively in this game. 7 and 17, almost triple negative, as again Dallas break through. London unsuccessful at holding it, but they bounce straight back into the hill. And my fear here is, Chance, we could be looking at a 100-point club. They've been rare this season, very rare indeed, just due to really how the game plays out. Seesaw effect. I know that's kind of a phrase you use pretty heavily throughout the year, and it's very, very accurate and a great way of describing it. But I mean, honestly, if London don't stabilize here, it could be a 100-point club.
Yeah, I was going to say it's definitely shaping up to be in that condition, because right now Empire, you see the spread they got. They have, what, 3 bodies in and around vents. Just as the cutoff mends, that means Clayster can hang out in the hill. Doesn't really even need to take gunfights. Well, now that Illy has fallen, more pressure is going to be on him, and the smoke's out to block that line of sight. But again, if Ravens don't get through here, not only will they obviously lose, but it will be a devastating one at that.
Brutal way to start off game number 1 of this series. London, who are looking for a good weekend here to really try and turn their season around. It's not necessarily been awful, but they would like to, of course, be competing for that top 4 as Shotzzy just line them up. There's 4 in quick succession. And honestly, London, they may just lose here if they can't break through. Shotzzy was trying to just fly straight forward, put more pressure on. Someone has to contest. Again, Dallas Empire can win it here. No one from London can even touch the hill. Clay's AR has just been a turret watching the front choke. And I think, Chets, that's going to be GG. Game number 1, 100-point club. Dallas Empire. That was a fine, fine performance from them.
Agreed. Yeah, I think that's the 3rd 100-point club we've seen this year. It cannot be understated. This match is much more important for the side of the Ravens, because the CDL points, they need them a lot more than the Empire does. But we could basically tell that story just from Illy's perspective at different times that we got him on broadcast, right? Obviously, 30 kills, led the lobby, credit where credit is due, but what was the first time we saw him, he opened up 9-3. Next time we saw him, he was just like laying down in the hardpoint of the Crates Hill, and then we're like, okay, there's no action here, let's jump to someone else. We watch all of the other teammates' perspectives for 10-15 seconds. After they die, we go back to Illy, laying down in the exact same spot, still hasn't taken a gunfight, just the easiest game in the world for him. Then the next time we saw Illy, he goes on a 5 spree where no one was even shooting at him.
Right.
I mean, again, it can't even, and then even like Shotzzy had a similar thing, like the 4 spree he went on at the end. Granted, a 4 spree is not the most absurd thing, but just killed 4 players, and the Ravens literally weren't shooting back. They did not know where to look. It was confusing. It was chaotic for them. Empire just be smart.
I'm kind of glad you bring up this point, because it's something I know we talked a little bit about, feels like maybe 3 weeks ago. There's a clip of Rambo Ray, the Dallas Empire coach, who was just kind of breaking down some gameplay, and he almost alluded a little bit to maybe knowing a little bit more about just how the game is working than some of the other teams. And the one thing that really caught our ears, so to speak, as we were watching the clip, was how much pressure that they could put on the map to influence the spawns whilst essentially leaving your player inside the hill to just milk the time of the hill. That's basically exactly what we saw there, right? Illy just lying in the hill, nothing to do. I don't think he took a gunfight in about 30 seconds. The irony is, as soon as he rotated, he took 5 gunfights, won all 5. But either way, Dallas, that was a fantastic performance in game number 1. As I mentioned earlier on, though, we have seen this series already this season. London went 2-0 up before Dallas Empire. They get the reverse sweep. They end up winning the series 3-2. Here's a look at exactly how close that series was. The first hardpoint was a 252-42. Get a round 11 search. The Dom not all that close. Again, the Hackney Yard hardpoint relatively close. And again, the search and destroy went to a round 11. So in terms of similarities to the last series and the series we're going to see today, Chance, are there any maps repeated or how does it look?
It's the double S&Ds. Yeah, both the S&Ds, again, both of which were round 11. We are going to see a second time, so maybe expecting that to be a little bit closer than map number 1, but potentially. But at the same time, I'm just going to backtrack this to the CDL argument and think about, like, you know, even to tie it in with the micro adjustments that Ray was talking about for a team to make of, you're going into search and destroy, and we have, again, teams that are in very different places within the standings. Ravens, there's pressure on because, yes, they're in 6th place, which is a great spot to be in, but you only drop down 40 points, and that is literally every other team in the league that's beneath them, so there's a lot of potential for things to get wild. So they need this win, which means they have to come in with their absolute best S&D strats, with their best game plan possible. On the flip side for Dallas, they can go and search and be like, all right, boys, we're in a great spot. We just destroyed them in the respawn. Now we can try out something new, throw some different strats. Like if we want a map, let's say Dallas Empire ordinarily would favor that bomb site 80-20. Well, now they can like flip the map on its head and get work in over towards the different sites to like practice different looks. That way, by the time champs come, they can be in the best spot possible. They can be a team that is difficult to game plan against because they have all this different stuff. That, like, there's so many more things that I think the Empire can do. Like, yes, they want to win the series. Yes, they're trying to jump up and get like a top 2 spot. Obviously, they're going to be going 100%, but they got options. Like they can tweak, they can try out different stuff, they can manipulate, they can let Crim6 snipe because like he's been killing in Warzone. Let's see what he can do in the CDL type deal. So they have options, and of course for the Ravens, nope, you have to do whatever your best available strategy is. You do not get wiggle room. You need this win. You have to go as hard as possible, and it might just be a situation where long term you're always doing your best. It makes it easier for other teams to counter your strats and S&D. So just like a meta strategy thing, I guess is what I'm talking about.
I do want to point out as well, when we look at that old series, it was quite a while ago. Of course, Zero was not a part of London Royal Ravens when the first series happened. I believe it was actually the London home series, which kind of made that loss even worse for the London fans. But as things stand, here in this series, it's going a little bit different than when we saw it last time. Dallas, 100-point club. London Royal Ravens in game 1. And on the search and destroys, as Chance said, are going to be repeats, and both went to around 11. Looking for a close game here and just a better performance, really, out of London Royal Ravens. You cannot continue at that tempo, otherwise Dallas Empire, quite frankly, will eat you alive.
You talk about research being done as well. Empire on defense effectively have triple, if not sort of quad stack. Shotzzy's a bit of a floater, but they were expecting an A push off the rip. Obviously, that is not the case, but the Ravens did not take advantage of his situation. Obviously, they don't have the same information we do, but they're slow playing its B. Empire recognizes this. They've rotated back. All the attacks coming in. They know exactly where the Ravens' pressure is coming from.
You expect them to know as well that Wuskin will be right up top sniping. If it's not going to be an A push, you have to expect him to be here. It seems like every time we see London play, he tends to be in this exact spot. Illy has put himself in a nice little spot. I'll see Zero, but Zero spots Illy as well. First blood, London Royal Ravens.
Second blood as well. Nice little follow from Scraps, making this a very nice advantage. And Bomb's going to get planted as well. Yes, that player falls, but either way, in a pretty good spot because we know Wuskin's the wild card in the back of the map. Shotzzy needs to hunt him down.
Oh, the Shotzzy realized, well, that's going to give it away. Wuskin will fall. Nice flank from Shotzzy. Shorty pushes up. He's somehow still alive. Turns! Kills Shotzzy as well! An incredible turnaround there from Shawnee in round number 1. Talk about forgetting you had a bad game, number 1. I think the Shotzzy run out of ammo there, it looks like, potentially. I think he was caught reloading because Shawnee gets blessed in the 1v2. London win round 1.
Yeah, I think bless is the correct word. Not for the running out of ammo, but that was so close to being an instant 3. It was one of the situations where I was like, all right, Wuskin's in the back. They don't know he's there yet. And then as soon as Shotzzy was about to walk in front of him, Wuskin shoots, and Shotzi's like, oh, piece of candy, free kill. Like, it did get very, very spicy. But hey, Shawnee made the big play. The turnaround is correct from the hard point, and an important first round for them.
Massive first round for him individually. Triple negative. Game 1 starts off round 1, 3 kills to his name. No deaths, of course. Dylan, first blood for London, pushing straight through the smoke. Maybe a little overzealous there, as Illy won't catch him. So that's going to level the playing field. 4 versus 4 for now. Illy still on your screens. He's looking up top. Shawnee, of course, will be top crate, but there's some pressure mid-map. Scraps has stayed alive. Hook has found 1, and Hook may actually find the second. Fantastic nade, and just like that, all of London fall. Dallas tied up.
And here's a question for you, in case your memory is better than mine. How often on this map have we ever seen the bomb planted on the left side of the site the entire year? I'm going to say not a lot. I'm not saying it never happens. I am going to say it's rare. When you have
numerical control and a sniper rifle at the back that's feeling safe, then yeah, sure, you'll go for it. But for the most part, not that often. You feel like...
And it get... Like this, so again, right, it doesn't happen very often, so I'm just backtracking the point of like Empire, they can try new stuff, they can go for different looks. That was round 1 on offense. Planning for the side that, again, is a lot more rare. This is something that long-term teams are just going to have to think about and try to make strats around.
First blood comes through, instant trade, however. So, 4v4 here in round number 3. Play on your screens. Had a very nice game, number 1. He's off to a decent start. They'll spot Dylan here. Unfortunately for Clay, Dylan will win that gunfight. Bomb also being planted. Looking like a nice round here for London. 4 versus 3. Bomb down as well. Lee looking to try and start the retake. Over towards B. Wuskin with the snipe. And miss, but either way, he's still, of course, alive. Shawnee will find another. That's going to be Illy that drops. All of a sudden, 2v2. Wuskin, again, keep in mind, still alive at the back. Dylan turns! Oh, my lord! Dylan!
What is it with players getting obliterated in the search and destroy?
Did Shotzzy run out of ammo again?
What is it with Shotzzy getting obliterated in the search and destroy?
He shot that time. I ain't giving you the benefit of the doubt this time. Nope.
What is going on?
Show that last bullet. Why? I don't want to hear your excuses. I'll give you the benefit of the first one, but not the second. Oh, my Lord.
And not only that, I mean, Dylan destroyed Glacier, too. Like, Glacier had the better gun for the fight. Dylan just lights on. I mean, I say better gun for the fight. It's not like the MP5 is bad, but... Those are weird 2 games, man.
Sure is. Advantage London Royal Ravens, though. Not this round, as 2 kills make that 3. Make that 4 kills come through in the first 15 seconds of round number 4-0. New man for the team. Good luck. Have fun. Sure, that wasn't that fun. Nice pick from Hook, and that's going to end round number 4. I feel like when Dallas are winning these rounds, Chance, they're winning them pretty fast.
Bro, like, do guns do more damage on offense? Like, I don't understand. Like, on defense, Shotzzy can't buy a kill, apparently. And then on offense, Empire both rounds have just... I don't even know if they've had anyone die on offense. They've had, like, literally 1 death on offensive 2 rounds. So, I don't know, Ben. Battle to win a defensive round on Gunrunner. Who is it going to be first?
I'll let him back on the attack here. What's going to slow start from him? 0-3, also 0, 1-4. Smokes are out, so the prep that Dallas put in round number 1 to blind read the A push will come through here. Unfortunately for Clay, he'll only find 1. His teammates going to try and rotate as quick as possible. For London, bomb has been planted. Shotzzy should fall. A little bit of support there for Shawnee, which, well, was needed, worth mentioning. Wiskin does find that pick, so now 3 versus 3. Perhaps Shawnee and Wiskin. Illy and Hook. Dallas pistols out. Illy's not going to win that. Shawnee survives again. The flank comes through. Crim shuts him down. Time is ticking. 15 seconds to go. Dallas still need to defuse. More importantly, they have to try and stop both players. And Crim finds 1. Fortunately for him, not enough time on the clock to finish the clutch. Schraps will check. Bum, and he'll find the easiest gunfight so far of the game for him. London, back up 3-2.
Yeah, we talk about the ease on Gunrunner of being able to win offensive rounds. Most of that is just because generically over towards B. Easy to get the bomb down, much tougher on defense to get the pressure out past crates because you pretty much die if you push too far past the actual site. But at the same time, if you're able to get the bomb down at A, unless you're at a massive man disadvantage, it is so much easier to watch that site. Like if you're on the defensive team, you have to check 37 corners. You have to worry about lines of sight under the train. You had Scraps basically hiding in the back of the map. Like there's so much you have to do for the retake at A that it's just next to impossible. So difficult. So nice round for Ravens get on the board.
With the first blood here, Illy will trade that out instantly and somehow stays alive as he pushes through mid-map. Let's have supportive teammates. 4 versus 4 for now. Shawnee's been forced to back away. Scraps will join him and try and aid the defense of the B site. Nice pick from Shawnee. His search and destroy has been very, very good so far today. 7-4 he currently sits. Scraps also finds himself 1. Back over to Shawnee. 0's there for the pressure. Shotzzy just got a little bit baited there. Late. Now for the 1 versus 3, 30 seconds on the clock. Not looking good here for Dallas to win this round.
Getting shot by everybody. Nobody quite on the bomb yet, and you see Clace for the line of sight you actually get when you plant it on the left side, so I think that's an indication of the idea that's coming in from the Empire.
The line of sight's great, but if you're getting peppered from here, there, and everywhere.
Not a 3v1. Long term, different rounds, man, different rounds. Not here, but again, just an idea of something Empire might be trying out to see how effective it is. Obviously, this round, it doesn't work for the 1v3, but again, it's just something that I think the Empire really can go out of their way to show so many different looks that makes them much more difficult to game plan for long term. I think that's where my head's at. But either way, we did see our first defensive round win. So if my math is correct, Ravens win. And we got a couple more rounds to go. But like, hell, they did it.
Well, the biggest lead, of course, of game 2 has been back and forth actually so far. Finally, London will hold defensively. Dallas looking for first blood here. Lee not finding it just yet. He needs to be careful. He might get blooded himself, and he does. Or essentially, 3 kills very, very quickly for London. From a 2-round lead, very quickly become 3 here. And they can just close this round out. Shotzzy and Hook are still up. Try and clutch up in this 2v4. Again, Dallas on defense. Hook will drop, and that should, I say should, be the round. Shotzzy for the 1 versus 3. Unfortunately, no utility available for him. Instead, have to try and do this the difficult way. Needs to give him at least a little bit of respect here. Shotzzy just soar straight at him and he wins that fight. Now a 1 versus 2. London, surely don't throw this one away. They won't. They are strong enough to shut him down, and London now with a 5-2 lead.
Yeah, nice couple string of rounds coming in from the side of Ravens. Also, just part of the fun for me watching Shotzzy play is just to try to count the number of controller inputs he has. I think just in that little stretch, it was like 9 slides. He probably hit triangle maybe like 30 times throughout the duration, a couple jumps thrown in the mix. Like, it's just mechanically, like, I don't know who the most mechanically intensive player is, but Shotzzy's obviously in the running. I think on the flip side, Dylan will be arguably the best contender for that very particular category.
Nice advantage now in game 2 for London. Well, speaking of Dylan, there's a first blood for him. Zero will also find 1 from a horrible start to the series for London. They have recovered very, very well in game number 2. Again, it was all round 11s last time we saw it. Looks like it's going to be a all type of blowout series, if I'm honest. From a 100-point club to potentially a 6-2 win here. It's all down to Clay. 1 versus 3. He'll find Shawnee and gets away with his life barely by the skin of his teeth. Now the 1 versus 2. Still possible. Still doable. Especially as he knows now where Woodskin is. It's all about finding the last player, which is going to be Scraps. And unfortunately for Clay, movement not good enough to avoid the 2 London players peppering down upon him. And London will take game number 2, 6-2. So big picture, chance. It looks like we may have a potential long series, maybe at game 5. The sad part is, it's not that these maps have been particularly close.
I mean, look, Ben, losing is learning. So right now, Empire just learning so much about search and destroy, while apparently London learning a ton about, at the very least, their gun runner hardpoint game. So that's what we're about in the CDL, you know, learning and growing as human beings. So we'll see what we learn in map 3, I guess.
Well, it's probably not going to be close if game 1 and 2 is anything to go by. But before we do get to game number 3, I do want to take a look at our quick scope presented by the U.S. Air Force. Again, just kind of a on the season look of how these two teams kind of shape up for Dallas Empire. 3rd CDL rank, London Royal Ravens, of course, in 6th, which is why this is really a big game for London. If they can take it and start to think about climbing up the CDL leaderboard, so important for them. And when you talk stats from that game, credit to Shawnee. A big credit. It's never easy to turn things around after a horrible game number 1 from triple negative to double positive. The only player there with double digits in the search. So credit to Shawnee for the quick turnaround. Series tied though, 1 map apiece. We'll be right back after this with game 3, Domination.
He's too bloody strong. One of the best players in the world.
Again, Scraps has got his number.
Beautiful read from Woodskin.
The United States Air Force. Learn more at airforce.com. PlayStation 4, the official platform partner of the Call of Duty League.
the flip might have already happened. So the high risk, high reward, maybe type player you're going for is not going to pay off for Ultra, and Invoice Uzi is lighting it up. That was 3 in a row, 4 in a row, just beaming them across the map. It's the Uzi making light work of Ultra, now 6 in a row, 17 and 8.
Nothing will be heard. Lovely nade from Scum. Great positioning from Scum. Finds the first with the hip fire. Not able to get in the other one though. But again, trying to just hold this defensive line. And here come the Mutineers! Scumpy with the through piece. Oh my word. There's few more on the site now. This is to keep the Huntsman in the game. Pharaoh from up high. And Scum finds another one. He's still going! Huntsman, what a round! That's exactly where Shotzzy is. He can see the bomb from underneath that truck. Very, very far away. If anyone goes for it.
But not on it. He knows that. Where's Crim at? Crim just a little further behind. Crim's got to get taken down, but Shotzzy is still behind.
Here we go. Shotzzy.
Oh, look at the time. Look at the time. Look at the time. Shotzi's done it. A 1v3 to keep Dallas in the game. A tap, tap, tap from Shotzzy.
And now look,
Sim's like, hang on a second. What's this?
Sim's like, oh, dude, he could see the bomb. Oh, we're all learning. Don't worry.
Shotzzy able to take down 2. Hook with the third. Shotzzy flies on in. Can he get the last one? He can. The movement on point. The shot on point. Shotzzy is ridiculous. He continues to do it map after map. They're going to fight for these final 20 seconds. Let's get out of their way. Shotzzy lighting it up.
And now you got what? Celium versus
18
2.
seconds. 1v2 for Celium. He's clutched so many of these in his career. Can he find another one? With 12 seconds, bomb is being planted. If he can find the pick just in the nick of time, maybe he wins the round and he gets it. 7 seconds, can he bubble away? Celium just barely, by the skin of his teeth, escaped. Is the bomb going to be planted? 1 second. No! Atlanta FaZe in a millisecond win the round 11. Honestly, one of the best series you're going to see all year long. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Paris Legion home series. We're unfortunately supposed to be in Paris this week as there's a look at the lovely Eiffel Tower. Sadly, we are not, but hey, we can at least pretend a little bit, if nothing else. Either way, though, back to business. Day 1, Paris home series, game number 2. I was having a little bit of, I guess, a fear, if you will. I was a little afraid that after, last week's home series where there were so many game 5s, I think it was like 75% game 5s that we saw, that maybe this week, starting off with a 3-0 and what looked like it may have been another 3-0 here just based off game number 1, thinking, God damn, we may not have as many game 5s. Might not be the case, as London, of course, tie things up. A big win on Gunrunner S&D against Dallas Empire 6-2. And that might be up there for scores of one of the biggest victories against Dallas Empire on the season. But we'll take a look at our tactical play presented by the U.S. Army from game number 2. And I mean, there was a couple of weird moments, that's for sure, but this is one of them. Yes. And we'll start off just straight away in round number 1. I have to imagine that it's just a simple case of Shotzzy running out of ammo. I really want to see the animation again because honestly, not 100% sure. The second one, he definitely didn't, but right here, he had, 11 bullets left. Shawnee turns, and I'm pretty sure that's the reload animation I see there as well. But either way, congrats to Shawnee, a fantastic turnaround, and unfortunately for Shotzzy, happened a couple of times game 2.
Yeah, that's honestly my fear for game 3 of anytime a player gets turned on, I think in the back of their minds, they'd be like, that wasn't on broadcast, whatever. It happens. You play Call of Duty, you get turned on all the time, it happens, that's what I'm saying. But for 2 in that series, when that's a guarantee that both of them got saw, because Shotzzy was the last one alive, we caught it, he's going to fry this game. That's my expectation. I think Shotzzy is just going to have go demon mode, whatever you want to call it. He's going to press all of the buttons repeatedly, and I'm assuming he's going to be shooting quite a bit straighter. So we'll see what happens, but Ravens might have just, I don't know. I wrote a check that their butts can't cash. Something like that. There's some saying here that applies to the situation better. It's an American thing. Don't worry about it.
Never heard that one before, but we'll just pretend it didn't happen.
Have you really not? Maybe it is an American thing.
I think it very much is. I know statistically speaking for both 2 teams, this isn't a very exotic map for Domination. I think it's 2, 3, 2, and 4 between the 2. So neither team with a positive record. And hopefully you guys enjoyed Gunrunner because we're obviously here for the 3rd time this series.
Oh, God.
Yeah. We love that. Love some Gunrunner. As so far, no one able to control B just yet. And if this series is showing us anything, it's that it's not going to be as close as the first time we saw it. And it very well might just be a blowout in game 3 as well.
Wuskins, you can tell he's ready for Shotzzy to make the push, and as soon as Shotzzy does, yeah, Wuskins takes him down. So nice setup, and I will say a pretty big part of that setup was Shawnee doing a fantastic job of spawning on the C side of the map. So right off the opening break, even though A controls the way the Ravens, Shawnee next level, making sure he dies at the right time just to get that next level positioning. So opening break effectively goes the way of Ravens, starting to try to build their lead as much as possible.
Continuing really where they left off in game number 2, which is going to be important for them. Now keep your eye on the minimap. Big flank starting to develop, and it's Shotzzy again. He's going to do this time and time again. And you'll see this from pretty much every CDL team in the league when they're controlling C, don't have control of B and A. And he's put himself in a great little spot here to be a nuisance. And London should know, based off where they're going to be spawning up, keep your eye on Dylan. He has just fallen, and you'll see exactly where he spawns on that minimap, way out. And if they didn't know, they sure as hell know now. Shotzzy picks up 2, Scraps and Zero both fall. And just like that, Dallas Empire flipped the map.
And that's super frustrating because they actually knew Shotzzy was there for quite some time. Like, Scraps heard him, and we saw him sort of like recognize that. But Shotzzy played it patient enough that after 15 seconds go by, Scraps couldn't track him any longer, and Shotzzy gets the timing perfect, not just to kill 1, but to kill 2. And I can't imagine how like frustrated they would be in the comps for the side of the Ravens of like, they had the game plan, they had the situation, they knew exactly what they needed to do. All of a sudden, Shotzzy 2 pieces them, and well, now you're down what? A flag essentially. You're down AC.
Right.
Just such a weird spot.
This is a very weird looking minimap as well. You can see players dispersed here, there, and everywhere. It's going to get very chaotic very quickly, and I want to send it now to an Astro Gaming listener with Dallas Empire.
Johnny in boxes. Johnny in boxes. There's two.
Yeah, boxes and boxes.
I need a boxes. I'll pick up your apple. They're spawning lockers, guys.
You have boxes now?
I spawned back right.
Oh, nerd. Boxes.
Nerd dead.
3-3, let's go B, let's go B, get out of AC.
I'm flashing.
Go B. I'm coming white with you. There's gonna be one camping back B, you know it.
On C. Locker.
Lockers.
Yeah, two.
Let's get that up down a trophy.
One more.
On C, one bullet. Traps.
Go he's behind us. Nerd.
I'm not having this guy cap it. I'm having the guy cap it.
Where are they going?
I'm trying to
slow it down.
Green train, watch out. You're going B. Lockers.
I'm going
first guy.
I don't have a trophy.
I got them.
I got flash stacks. They're gonna think I'm sacks.
Back lockers. He smoked it, guys. They have a trophy too.
I got one. One more.
They have a trophy. I can't do anything about it. I killed the trophy's dead. The trophy's dead.
Going to A.
I got two.
Yeah, Scraps is going in.
I don't see him going in yet.
Shitting on them.
He might go back to you.
He went back.
Yeah, he went back.
Yeah, he's going to bathroom right
Push around the C.
Crim's having a pretty good game, chance.
Dude, and Crim's evaluation is better than my own.
You know what?
Crim knows what's going on.
Yeah. Crim is well aware of the display that's been put on, but still, relatively close game. I will say I love that listening there from Dallas Empire. It was a chaotic few moments that started to ensue as we jumped to it. And you can see the way Dallas was able to react. They pretty much called everything perfectly outside of a sneaky little flank from Zero, which was unexpected. And just with 60 seconds left, London will once again control A and C as they try and do a little bit of damage limitation here in the first half. The score, 71-52, advantage, Dallas Empire.
Crim just showing off the nice little stuns, and obviously his teammates there for the trade, but really just trying to make sure you get that second flag back really quickly, where I'm assuming Crim, as long as he doesn't get picked off, will be able to lock down A. B is under control, and it looks like Ravens, they're trying to get that last-ditch effort call to potentially flood it towards this A flag, but not a lot of map pressure with 30 seconds left. I have to imagine the Empire will close down with the 2-flag setup and build themselves a nice little 20-25 point lead throughout the first half.
It's going to be a nice lead. It's definitely still manageable, and a comeback here is definitely still possible for London. It's going to be about starting strong though, and when you look at some of the numbers on the scoreboard for London Royal Ravens, it hasn't necessarily been pretty. I know Dylan has been struggling a lot. He may actually still be double negative. He was at one point in this first half, and I'm pretty sure things haven't got much better for him as Dallas closed things out first half 92 to, I believe that was 66. So a nice cushion for Dallas, but again, it's definitely not too comfortable.
Not too comfortable, but at the same time, like, it's just for both the respawns, I'm almost just like in awe of how clean like the Empire have been, because like I think instinctively when I'm thinking of Shotzzy, I'm thinking of like, dude's cracked out, he's just going to be flying as fast as possible. We've seen it in this Domination at least 2 different times, and then the Hardpoint as well. He is very willing to just slow it down and make the smart, patient play. And that's scary, man. Like, if you got some, like, high-octane, like, Slayer kind of players, and you can get them to be consistently making the smart plays, like, for me, that's just a scary sight to see, because this is, what, his first year playing Respawn and Call of Duty, like, ever? And he's already making some of the smarter plays we've seen from the league. Granted, it's not like it's ridiculously complicated stuff, but even still, like, I think, credit where credit's due.
I think to the point you're trying to make is traditionally when you'll have a player who plays at that fast pace, who is just so high twitch, they don't always have the same discipline or just the awareness of when to slow down the pace. Whereas what you're seeing from Shotzzy is a prime example of, no, I need to just lie down here. I need to just wait for my teammates. I need to try and block spawns, have a bigger influence. And the fact that he's been able to learn that as quickly as he has, I mean, credit to him. We know how much of a superstar player he is. But that extra level, that's what really takes you from being, you know, like a good player to a great player. And I think having the staff around him, when you look at Dallas Empire, is going to help him a lot. And I think having Crim and Clay on your team, I mean, we talk about those two as veterans for a very, very good reason. I mean, Crim, the GOAT of Call of Duty, we talk about it all the time. And then you add Clay to the mix. You look at what he achieved last year with the United, the tiny terrors, and just everything he's done throughout his playing career. I mean, if you're Shotzzy, if you're Illy, if you're Hook, you could not ask for a better two teammates and a better coach as well in Rambo Ray.
And you literally actually did take the words out of my mouth of saying just the difference between a good player and a great player. Like, there's plenty of veterans we have in the league that are good players that can slay, that can do a lot of great things for a team that just aren't, or like maybe at times they like show off greatness, like sort of thing, but it's never consistent. It's never that type of thing. And it's that type of like intelligent play that like I'm seeing in Shotzzy. So it is impressive. And of course, even just to touch on this specific Dom we've seen, the London Royal Ravens, they actually put themselves in a pretty good spot. And then Empire, they only let it last for like 30 seconds before they bounced back. So yeah, you got Dylan making plays, but it seems like every situation that the Empire has been dealt with in the Hardpoint, in the Domination as well, they deal with it perfectly.
Well, score 127-97 with still 2.5 minutes to go. Not looking good for London Royal Ravens. Shawnee's respawn struggles seem to be continuing. Dylan having a shocker of a game number 3, double negative 10-20. Waskin doing his best, 17-11, as is his twin scraps, 17-13. Zero about even, 13-15. On the other side, though, the stats for Crim looking nice. We heard his thoughts in the first half of how the game was going for him, 19-13. Hoop right behind him at 18-14, and everyone else about even. But it's not necessarily the slaying. Again, to just reiterate the point here for what's been so impressive about Dallas, it's the discipline. It's just how well executed their game plan is as Crim finds himself another double, 21-13. Crim really having a great game 3.
I will say, though, Ravens putting a little bit of pressure on, but honestly, I don't even know what you say about the pressure because you got Illy neutralizing C while you have 0 neutralizing A. You have like 2 to 4 bodies in and around the B flag. This is what we call pure and utter chaos. Now, of course, you have Wuskins that's trying to watch the C flag. He probably doesn't know it. Empire is actually going to be spawning out behind him, or maybe he does because he's playing this nice and patient, just letting that flag stay neutral. So I guess great job of recognizing spawns by both teams. And these are the situations where I don't know how they do it sometimes.
Here's the problem for Wuskin, though. It's all good and well keeping the flag neutral and waiting for time, but you don't have time. You're a minute 20, 151, 113. You need the C flag. Quite frankly, you needed the C flag about 60 seconds ago. And unfortunately for them, I think they'll realize now as both C and B are capped up that this game is done and dusted. Again, it's looking like potentially we're going to go to a game number 5 again in this repeat clash of London Royal Ravens and Dallas Empire, but in a very different way. Game number 1, 100-point club. Dallas Empire just showing a fine display of coming to Hardpoint. Game 2, London Royal Ravens. I mean, you think game 1 never happened. A 6-2 victory, gun runner search and destroy. Game 3, over a 40-point lead with a minute left. Dallas Empire put on a clinic. Odds are, London Royal Ravens made just a 100-point club Dallas Empire in Game 4.
I don't necessarily see the series going that way. I like one of the points we were kind of talking on of like long term, you want to mix it up, make your team like difficult to game plan for sort of thing. you can mix the bag a ton in Search and Destroy. You can do a lot of different things. But in Respawn, you want to win. You want to make sure that your team stays confident. You want to give confidence to the other team sort of thing. So realistically, if you're trying to mix it up a little bit, you have a different opening break, maybe a slightly different setup here and there. But for the most part, Respawn is just going to be Respawn in Call of Duty. And, well, we've seen how they've been going this series. For me, I'm thinking this one's probably going to be over in 4.
I think the only thing you can really do differently is maybe start, I guess, really pushing the spawns to the limit and just spawn control to the limit. And what I mean by that is if you're Dallas and you're in control of, let's just use this map as an example, right? You have CB control. How far up can you really push? How far up can you pin the other team in the back and essentially just spawn trap? And for me, I think that's what Dallas are going to start experimenting with more and more. When they have those disciplined plays and they can almost get out of danger, right? It's like they have like a get out of jail free card sometimes. When things don't look good, they're able to just quickly turn it around. And so for me, I think that's what you're going to see Dallas do more and more of, is just try and push essentially the game to the limits. As game 3 over, 181, 130. It hasn't necessarily been the closest of series, but you're seeing a clinic essentially in each and every game mode so far. Dallas Empire lead the series 2-1. And chats, as much as I would love the storyline to continue in another game 5, I think you're absolutely right. I think this is more than likely going to be a 3-1 victory for Dallas Empire, and I think that's the expected result as well when you look at this series.
At the same time, though, like, I think for Ravens, that's almost unacceptable, right? Because, like, yes, they're in the 6th seed. Yes, it's a good spot, but there is a 40-point gap between them and the team that is in 12th, which means you have 7 other teams, or I guess 6. Yeah, you have 6 other teams that are going to be gunning for your spot to try to knock you down in the standings. And if you fall to Dallas here, you have to, what, get past Paris. And if you're able to pull that off, you have to either deal with Dallas again or you have to deal with Florida. That is not a fun route to have to take. And, like, 10 points, I just don't think is going to be good enough for the Ravens, because I think after this they get 2 more tournaments left, and just think about all the teams that are underneath them that are starting to look better. The Gorillas are looking a lot more scared than they used to be. The Subliners, like every single team, even Seattle Search, you pick whoever you want. They have shown improvements. You expect any number of these teams to start working their way up through the standings. So it gets interesting, man. Or even for Paris, like let's say Paris is going to be in losers. If Ravens end up facing off against them, if Paris is able to beat them, that's 10 points Paris is now getting that the Ravens are going to get stopped. That's going to close that gap just a little bit more. Like, it does get scary for the side of London of just the amount of competition that we have. It's that much more difficult. So, yes, I'm expecting Empire to win this series, but for Ravens, they got to dig deep and find something that they can do to find their way back.
Honestly, you're absolutely right. And in terms of this series, again, the games so far have not been close. It's been blowout after blowout after blowout, and well, Dallas Empire lead the series 2-1, and I know we're giving Shotzzy a ton of credit, and kind of rightfully so. I think he deserves more limelight, and kind of brings up the bigger picture. I know the guys earlier on were talking about MVP of the season and a couple of names being thrown out, and when you talk like rookie of the season, to me, Shotzzy is right there. It's kind of crazy to call him a rookie, but essentially that's what he is, kind of coming into the Call of Duty world,
he's the only one that in my mind it really makes true sense to call a rookie, because he's coming from, like, it's weird to me to call Illy a rookie because he's been playing COD at a very high level for however many years now. Even if his majority is Search and Destroy, he's still playing against pros pretty consistently. And same thing for Simp. Like, Simp has been playing and beating pros for however many years. We just called him a rookie last year because he turned 18, but it's not quite in that truest sense. For Shotzzy, last year was the first year where he really started playing Call of Duty. It was just indeed, this is the first year where he has really started grinding Respawn. So in my mind, he's about as true as it gets when it comes to the word.
You did a good job just kind of breaking down, or just kind of talking about it, at least in game number 3, just mechanical inputs, right? Something that we rarely talk about in Call of Duty, right? Because there's just a limited amount of mechanical inputs you can put into the game. Or at least, if you're human, there is. Shotzzy, on the other hand, I mean, he is able to do things which just don't make sense, right? Like, if you've seen the video and you know what I'm referencing to, if you don't, check out his Twitter, take a look, just hit the meteor button and it'll be right there. His game just looks different with the amount of mechanical inputs he puts in. And you're absolutely right. Dylan's right there with him, right? When you talk about players who can just input a lot of different buttons, and your slides, your cancels, your triangles, your YYs, essentially. It's absolutely insane watching him play. And it genuinely looks like he is playing a different game than everybody else.
Yeah, I think every single time we watch like I need the next person, which should always be Clayster, just to like watch the two different types of games that they played. And don't get me wrong, obviously we're getting credit to Dylan. There are plenty of players to the league who are mechanically incredibly sound. But just to speak on like the video, it was I thought it was like a Codcaster glitch, the thing that he did, and then he put out a video and just went and replicated it. So he just does some wild stuff at times, and is just definitely a player that's worth paying attention to and maybe trying to replicate at times, because like it was even the karma joke of like he was talking about like Celium was the guy that was going like breaking the game, essentially finding these weird movement things that you can do, and it just Shotzzy is in that caliber of player. But either way, speaking of this game, we've been talking about Empire not stop of maybe being the more dominant spawn team. That was simply the early indication, but very solid opening break coming in for the Ravens. They threw 35 points up on the board and might be able to poise up and get a tiny little bit of the scrap time. That's not the case, but now pressure over towards this next hill. And the Ravens, we talked about them needing the bounce back. This might be it, because now you got Dylan and Shawnee in around the hill. They're able to flip the ones. That is about as good as you were going to see a St. Petro open and go when you're starting from the bad side of things. So right now, Ravens trying to make me and Ben eat our collective words and build up the time as much as possible as Shawnee, that roaming slayer, does get chopped down, and maybe not eat our words, because again, another storyline that we've seen throughout this series is Empire, anytime they're dealt a bad hand, they do make up for it and get that pressure right back inside the Hardpoint. We'll be able to take a look and see what they're able to do, but it does appear that just because those closer spawns, Ravens should be good. You got M4s, MP5, Shawnee gunning down everything in sight, making sure that he's able to get those final 20 seconds. So we'll go into the new hill. Ravens will have about a 60-point lead. Of course, if they do not have that rotation coming in as Empire, well, we get an indication of what their full setup's going to be. You're going to have Hugh. He's going to be the player that's effectively all the way towards the back of the map. You leave Shotzzy inside the hill. You got Clayster pushing up just a little bit for him. And
I think our cats are going to be Petro. There's a little bit of a curse coming through. Probably every time we jump into St. Petro, everything goes wrong in terms of tech. But I think hopefully everything is sorted now. I'm back in. You did a good job, son. Honestly, I don't even think you need me, Chess. I'm gonna be honest. I think you're doing a fine job without me.
I disagree. I was literally 30 seconds into that, and I was like, oh boy, I'm like, I was already tired of hearing my own voice, so like.
Oh, now apparently I've lost Chance. Oh, this is all going wrong. St. Petro. That's a chance. Name about a curse. Either way, as things stand here in game number 4, to your point, I don't think we're going to see a blowout chance. The current score, 79-59. Dallas Empire starting to fight back. However, for how many points can they gain? No, the final 13 scrap should be good for them. However, in terms of the fight for rotation, pool hole, it's going to be London that have the advantage in terms of the spawns, and it should be London that are going to get the early amount of points. Of course, as things end the series, it's Dallas Empire 2, London Royal Ravens 1. You are just shooting, and everything we've seen so far has not been close at all. This game 4 is giving me a little bit of hope that maybe that might turn around here, unless, of course, London can have a solid hold here on Pool Hall, and they have the perfect setup for now, at least. No one from Dallas able to get close to the hill just yet. London still milking the time for all it's worth. However, now the pinch starts to develop, and it's going to be led by Illy, trying to get around the outside, and now the pressure comes in towards the hill. Illy, with the support of his teammates, just walk straight in, and Chance, hopefully you're back. That looked far, far too easy.
Or too easy, but at the same time, it's still a little bit scrappy towards the end. Like, you have Empire getting a couple of cuts, but it's pretty important for Empire to try to get that break, because they spent a ton of time trying to set up for it, and, well, I will say credit where credit is due. I think it was Clayster that was able to survive in a 1v3, 1v4, and actually, Krim was apparently right there with them to get that scrap time, so that was a 30-second investment, let's say, for the Empire, but they made sure that they at least contested, if not outright get the break, just for that damage mitigation to start climbing their way back in the game.
Hook says, surprise, push straight through the door. He's lying down, and he'll find himself 2. Hook almost found himself 3. This looking very, very close as we're in the final hill of the first rotation. 112-94. It's London with the advantages. London try and force themselves into a game number 5. A quick glance at the stats. Illy leading the way as he did in game number 1. Here in game 4, 15-10. On the flip side for London, really nothing too crazy. Shawnee is having a good game now, I will say, at 14-8. Dylan, though, still struggling. That, to me, has been a story, really, here of the series.
And at the same time, is like, you have to imagine it's not easy when you're getting bullied out beat by 100 points. Like, everybody right now for the side of Ravens is going to be struggling just because they are getting bullied out. They had, what, an 80, 90-point lead in this game. They had almost the perfect first rotation from the first hill to the second. And ever since then, it has just been the Empire going crazy, winning hill after hill. But we're back to where the Ravens had the most success by far. They got a nice little setup in around this first hard point. Wuskins is up top. You know, when you get this man in a good spot, great things are going to happen for your team. And more importantly, the spawn's currently the way of Ravens as well.
Yeah, but unfortunately, as you say it, you may have just jinxed it. Shotzzy shuts down 0, and just like that, Dallas Empire flipped the map. However, still 34 seconds left on P1. This is big time, and well, London are going to need it now, knowing they've completely lost control of the spawns. Wuskin should be good with the support there of Shawnee to just lock in the final few seconds of scrap.
Final few seconds of scrap, but you talk about the good and the bad and the ugly, whatever it's going to be. Ravens do inadvertently lose the spawn, so it's effectively them trading out and say, hey, we're going to get all of the time on P1. We're going to be able to take that lead, blow it up just a little bit, but we're going to be in a slightly worse spot going in the rotation. So the goal for the Ravens, just try to get the break, get the contest. You want to be able to throw no more than maybe 30 seconds to the way of Empire, and of course set up for long-term rotations. And you can see Empire, not a ton of pressure in the hill. Shotzi's going to have to wrap back just to get inside of it, which means you don't have a ton of map pressure over towards the right side of the map, or the top side, I should say, as that's where Ravens are trying to work their way through.
45 seconds left here on P2, so a lot of time, and big time here for Dallas. Is once again, we look to see a potential another lead change come through. Still, Dallas inside the hill. Flank coming through from Shawnee. He was only able to find one, but it has relieved enough pressure for his teammates to walk straight in. He has a nice break from London, and with 20 seconds left, that's a fair amount of time London can claim here.
Yeah, I got a lot of pressure on 0 now as well. You get a lot of bit of time. Hardpoint scrap time going to be going over the Ravens. They're going to have, what, 30, 35-point lead. Now you have 0 in the back. Oh, his job, stay alive. Wait for your teammates to come give you support, but you can see he's getting hunted. And yes, he wins the first one, but the trades don't come in. He's able to take down Hugh, but now the trades don't come in because Clay falls as well. He needs to make the big play. He does exactly that.
That's just unfortunate, though. He pops a 3-piece, and I think he was thinking, all right, maybe there's a chance they spawn out. Unfortunately, no. He was left with really no other choice than to try and push forward and make another hero play. Unfortunately for him, it means diddly squat, as Dallas still spawning in at the back and still in control of the hill. 30 seconds left, 186, 176. Dallas again about to take the lead.
Oh, that sucks for 0 too. Like, imagine
That's
that. Like,
so
you make the big play, your one shot, kill the second. I was like, he's gonna get traded out. It's not gonna matter. Then he gets the third, and then it still doesn't matter. Like, talk about just the brutalness that this game can provide. But either way, you talk about a back and forth one we've had. That's about the 7th or 8th lead exchange I think we've had so far. And you have to imagine it's gonna happen once again because Ravens, well, they're set up in and around pool hall, and well, Clay, he's been there, but he's just waiting for his teammates to get nearby to try to get that approach again.
And this is now down to London to try and give yourself the biggest lead possible, to put yourself at one break on the final hill, right? If you can do that, if you can give yourself that big of a lead, you're putting so much pressure on Dallas. And of course, the pressure now is on Dallas to try and break through quickly. Illy was able to find one on the flank. That's all he's going to be able to claim. Meanwhile, top pool hole, it's Hook that finds the first pick. But again, still, no one from Dallas able to just completely get control of the hill. The gunfights are going back and forth. It was contested for a brief moment. Contested again. London holding on. 30 seconds. Another lead change comes through. London in the lead. And this now is huge time for London Royal Ravens. They are so close to forcing in Game 5.
Still got Empire, though. They're working on the swarm. Like, you got Clay on the map right now. He's just trying to lock off these players from Ravens on the top side lane just to make sure they can't get to the new hill. So he's doing that while his teammates are putting pressure inside the hill. Empire, we're very aware they're not going to be able to break through. You can hope for an extra couple seconds to contest. They need that good, strong setup around this new restaurant hill. And again, Clay still doing the exact same thing. Locking down the lane at the top side while you got Crim6 going on flanks, just trying to keep the Ravens away from the hill.
And that's a beautiful job from the Observer team right there, showing you the key fights going on in the rotation, and they are so important for Dallas. They need to hold on if they want to try and win this series in 4. 232, 221. Dallas inside the hill. Now it's imperative for London to break. Of course, if London break quick enough, they will win it here and force the game number 5. Hardpoint going to be contested. Shotzzy, first line of defense. That was maybe a bit crazy. Challenges one through the smoke. Meanwhile, Zero tries to fly straight through, and London have broken through with 25 seconds left. Now Dallas have to fly. You have no time to think. You have to contest the hill as quickly as you can. Just 10 more seconds needed. Illy flies in. Illy will fall. Hook does win one. Hill's still going to be contested. Now, bear in mind, there is going to be a foot race on rotation as finally Dallas break through. They need to hold it for just one more second, but no! I don't think there's going to be anyone there to contest. And the challenge at the end may have just bitten Dallas in the butt. London take game 4, 250 to 229. It wasn't a blowout. It was a close one. And this series is again, for the second time this season, going to a game 5.
By the hair of their chinny chin. Again, the Ravens, they need this win, and they were 1 second of extra contest time coming in on one of the previous 2 hills, and that game probably goes the way of Dallas because, again, they had all 5 players in and around that next hill. But they got that dub, they're going to get it, and even if the play of the game amounted to nothing, they still get that win. And now this is an interesting spot because we've said it multiple times, like the Empire, they don't need it quite as much, but still, they want to climb up in the series as well, so they need to go as hard as they possibly can in the Game 5 to make sure they're in a good spot for the tourney.
A big turnaround from a lot of players there for London. Dylan included in that. He finishes 26 and 24. Shawnee 24 and 24 as well. Both those 2 players lead the charge for London Royal Ravens. The series, if we're honest, has by no means been a pretty one. It's been pretty brutal, really, in some of the game modes, but either way, we are going to a Game 5 Search and Destroy. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Dylan, he's too bloody strong. One of the best players in the world.
Again, Straps has got his helper. Beautiful read from what's good.
Want to play Search and Destroy like a pro? Here's some S&D recon from the U.S. Air Force. Piccadilly's a unique map. There's a lot of building cover around the perimeter, but most of the action happens in the wide open streets. There are a bunch of scattered vehicles you can use as cover, but be careful. Some might just explode. This map's long sightlines and environmental hazards make long-range weapons and explosives especially deadly. So, grab a sniper rifle and a grenade, because we're going for first blood. If you're on offense, pull out a sniper rifle and run straight for the scaffolding. This is a great vantage point to catch any members of the defense crossing the bomb site A or B. Let's see how a pro, like Simp, does it. If you're not quite savvy with the scope, run straight out of spawn towards this street light with the frag grenade. Line up these 2 posts, run, jump, and throw. If you manage to land your grenade near this G, you'll be able to catch anyone on the defense hanging back with snipers of their own. If you're on defense, check out how GodRx works the sniper on B. As soon as he spawns, he runs straight into the bookstore to catch any players making a quick break for bomb site B. From here, he can even catch any enemy sniper's position on the scaffolding. If any players make it all the way to the ambulance, you can toss a frag grenade right at it and blow up anyone lurking behind cover. If you want to catch them crossing to A, give this a shot. Run out of spawn, look to the right, and aim towards this building. This is a common path to get to A, so the enemy might drop a smoke grenade for cover. But if you can predict the enemy's timing like Wuskins can, you might just get lucky and find a pick anyway. There's your S&D recon for Piccadilly. Good luck out there.
That was a look at S&D Recon presented by the U.S. Air Force. There, of course, a glance at Piccadilly Search and Destroy. Last time we went here between these two teams, it did go to around 11. Since then, a lot of Search and Destroy has been played. And here's a quick glance at our top 5 win percentage in this game mode, entering Paris throughout the entire league. No surprise, Atlanta FaZe number 1, 75%. Dallas Empire is number 2, 64.3%. And London Royal Ravens actually do slot in 5th, down there at 56.6%. So you would give the advantage to Dallas. However, there's one thing for sure. Feels like every time me and you cast Piccadilly Search and Destroy and London Royal Ravens are involved, Wuskins seems to find himself 1 or maybe even 2 clips with a sniper rifle. So for me, all eyes on him, finding those first bloods, finding those crucial picks for London Royal Ravens. If he can do that consistently here in Game 5, we could have a theoretical upset on our hands early here in the Paris Home Series.
And not just Wuskins, like, yes, he's been on point all year with the snipe. Piccadilly's a great map for it, but Shawnee's been on point this, like, outside of the first map, Shawnee dropped double digits in the S&D, was dropping big kills in there. He just had an incredible performance in the past map, had more than 2 minutes in the hill, so he's on point as well. You got a lot of players to look at, and a bit of a different angle coming in from Wuskins as well, as you see Ravens very quick with their attack on A.
And this is something they'll do. They're not afraid to just run straight at the bomb, get it down, force Dallas to come to them. If you do not respect that fast push, London will make you pay. Now it just comes down to post-plant positioning for London Royal Ravens. They're off to a good start, and they'll find Hook. However, Shotzzy does level the playing field. 4v4 for now. Dylan will also be tagged. Late, looking to try and hunt down Wuskins. He's expecting pressure to be over by Arcade. Don't think he really realized that Zero was going to be up top. Scraps, of course, still playing deep. Zero with a lot of work to do here for London, but there's only 15 seconds left, and Clay really can't afford to be this slow. The pick from Wuskins comes through. Clay was last man up. London take round number 1.
And that's a beautiful first round as well. Again, one just to keep the ball rolling, but they got that bomb planted in a matter of, what, I think 14 seconds, and their post-plant positioning was as good as it could possibly be. Zero somehow was just allowed to hop straight up into the store. And in my mind, as soon as he gets there, that's pretty much just a win. Like, that is massive. And not only that, you also had Scraps that played such a deep angle in the back of the map, or on the other side of the map, I should say, laying down to let these players run past. And he is like just another insurance buyout clause. If somehow Zero is going to fall up top, and obviously it takes a long time to do that, Scraps has the perfect line of sight on bomb, and that's why Illy should be the sniper of the team if there was any debate.
That was a very fast reaction shot. Hook's also going to find 2. Scraps will find London's first pick onto Hook, but still he'll find himself in a 2 versus 4. Dallas, really a great rebound round here, and 35 seconds on the clock, of course, before bomb will explode. And really, Scraps with no way of winning this. He loses his support and unfortunately loses his life as well. Dallas, just as quickly as London win round 1, Dallas wins 2.
And not just this game, the Gunrunner 2, all of the rounds were basically played at like a blistering pace. Like, we're not even having enough time to break down the previous
Game 5.
Yeah, it's genuinely absurd, and this is interesting to play against because, again, S&D has been slowed down quite a bit. We've seen throughout this year. And that's a couple rounds back-to-back from both teams, showing at different sites they're willing to be aggressive on the site. Now, of course, for Empire on the side of defense, they need to get someone in top shop, right? They have to be prepared to deal with that fast A push, and you can see they're booking it, trying to get there as quick as possible.
I think it might be a little bit of bait as the smokes come through for London. There's not going to be a fast A push. Zero tagged up. Shotzzy so close, finding the pick, and the nade may actually just shut down Zero. It does, but it's actually Clay's nade. So good teamwork there from Dallas Empire in round number 3. Dylan will also drop, and Crim has a lot of work to do. It's really the front line of defending the B push. He's stayed alive. He's done well so far. Only trying to hunt him down. London will need to find a pick here, and they have any chance of winning this round.
Shawnee, not a bad guy to be looking for it again. Did play pretty well in the original search and destroy, double-digit kills, but not a lot of angles that are being gifted to him right now. You can see all these players just perfectly behind cover, and Wuskins, he knows the player's there. He can see his gun, but the angle just not quite there. Empire trying to do that dance, and, well, if you miss it, you get the haircut.
Billy will fall. Nice pick from Wuskin. Is that the pick, though, that's going to give London enough control? Well, if that first one wasn't, the second one might be. They still, however, have to deal with Crim. Does Shawnee even know he's here? Well, he does now. The support should come through. London turning the round on its head. Scraps with a nice little flank as well. It's going to be all down to Clay. Can he find the pick on the bomb planter? That would have been huge. The answer is no. Now Clay for the 1 versus 3. London turn the round on its head. Wuskins 2 snipes. Imperative for London to win that round.
The Wuskins effect, man. That's why you tell him he's a player to highlight constantly, just in general, but in Search and Destroy especially. His sniper's been on point. There was less than, I think, 23 seconds on the clock before, or like when he found the pick on Illy. By the time he got the second one, there was 18 left, and then whoever it was that had the flank coming in through library, perfectly executed. And that was just, I mean, again, that was about as free as of a round as it could get for Empire. But 2 fantastic shots coming in from Wuskins to open things up, and nice little 2-1 round lead.
And it's the Twins leading for London Royal Ravens, 4-1, 4-1. Dylan opens things up, the first blood, but the trade was instant from Illy. Nice gunfight win there for Crim. He'll shut down Shawnee. Dallas man advantage as they had last round. Of course, this time, though, it is Dallas on the attack, and well, Shotzzy gets himself up towards sight, fly straight forward. No respect given for Wuskin at all. Scraps is also surely going to fall. Shotzzy backtracks the bomb. Bomb being planted. 0 for the 1v4.
1v4, and well, able to find the first pick. Shotzzy goes for the challenge, and Shotzzy is going to connect as well. Admittedly, it did get a little bit spicy, but I think just a lot of care taken for the round. You know, you got the 5v3. Obviously, the instinct to just get the bomb down as fast as possible. Shotzzy goes next level and says, you know what? I'm going to go pick up a couple more kills, clear out library to make it extra safe, and have that even more man advantage for the bounce back in the game.
All tied up here in game 5. 2 rounds apiece. Wuskin still, for me, a key player to highlight. Shotzzy is having a great game for Dallas, though. He sits at 5-2. Dylan has been basically a key part to the start of London. The problem is he hasn't been able to stay alive for very long, but it's another first blood for Dylan, and again, it's deja vu. Instantly traded out. He's doing his job, though. And for London, he's finding gaps. He's finding holes in the Dallas Empire setup, which he is able to exploit. Of course, if he could stay alive, it'd be a little bit better. But again, doing his job, and it's a 1-man advantage now for London Royal Ravens, and he again look towards Wuskin to try and find a pick just to really secure this round. He'll spot Crim, and the man just isn't missing right now with a sniper rifle. Of course, the B site wide open. Shotzzy is, however, getting a little bit of a flank on him. He'll find the first and almost gets out as well. He does. Phenomenal from him.
Clay was able to find a pick as well. He's going to pop that silence to wrap around the map, but now Clay, well, they don't know exactly where he is, but obviously with that bomb down, they know where to look.
2v2. Nice shots from Clay. 2v1 now, all down to Wuskin. Not a lot of time to work with, if any at all. Just the 15 seconds, and that's about 1v1. Sorry, Clay versus Wuskin. 8 seconds on the clock. Clay knows bomb is down, and well, he's managed to go for a cheeky little flank. Is he going to spot Wuskin's feet? Can Wuskin get the bomb down? Clay, one more shot. Whew. Was a little awkward of a gunfight, but he gets the job done. Dallas up, 3-2.
That was weird too. Weskin basically, I mean, that was down to the wire. I don't even know if he had enough time to plant that towards the end. If he did, it was within 0.1 seconds of being a little bit too slow. But either way, Clay, you talk about big plays. Him and Shotzzy turned up towards the end. Nice little 1v2 coming in from him. And we talk about the patient, smart plays Empire consistently make. There's another example for you right there. Not a massive lead, though. And, of course, we've seen some of the systematic sniper rifle picks Wuskins has been able to get. There's another one right there on Hoop through the smoke.
He's just so good with a sniper in his hand. He really is. I mean, you could argue historically he's been a little inconsistent, but this year he's been second to none, basically, with a sniper rifle. However, Illy will respond with a pick of his own. Now, 4v4. 30 seconds left this round. It's advantage Dallas. They are on the attack. Shotzzy trying to make his way over towards B. He's been spotted out by London, but Clay finds a pick. Zero will fall. Dylan in a whole world of pain. The second he missed that opportunity to find the pick, you knew it was inevitable for him to fall, and now 4 versus 2. Scraps will shut down Crim. It's Scraps and Wuskins up for the 2v3 now, and Scraps has been very quick to assist. Unfortunately, though, Shotzzy has just got out to the left, and time is ticking. 30 seconds. Shotzzy with the perfect angle here, and he'll spot both Scraps and Wuskins, so realistically, no reason Dallas should lose this round.
It's just, again, it's one of those maps where not even 37 angles. You got a 37,000 you have to check. Wuskins is going to have to snipe 2 and defuse the bomb. It is a hopeless situation, and you can see the setup Empire have deep in the back of the map. And well,
I respect that so much. He knew the round was over. He said, you know what, screw it. Let me try and have some fun, get himself into a FaZe kill cam episode. Not going to be the case. Illy is not going to miss that one. Nice response from him, and Dallas Empire now have a 2-round cushion in Game 5. The advantage 4-2. Despite Wuskins' best efforts with the sniper rifle, he has been matched, and realistically, you gotta look at maybe a couple of his teammates here. Shawnee 1-5 in Game 5. Dylan 3-6. The first bloods are great. Again, you just feel like he's just trading away his life time and time again, and that is, yeah, that's a good start there for Dallas.
That is the demoralizer. Wuskins, though, again, doing his job, working with some new angles with the sniper to find a pick, and he does have time to potentially work to find a couple more, but you have to imagine Empire are just going to give away nothing. They can just hide. They can let the bomb get planted. You try to pick whatever players off the bomb, and frankly, Scraps working so far along the way, the edge of the map, but keep in mind, the bomb's down at A.
Right. And Dallas will know that because of just how fantastic that nade was. They'll know that the bomb has to be over towards A. They don't really even need to worry about B, but Crim's going to do it anyway. He'll shut down Scraps, and while Wuskin is left, last man alive, a 1v4. This to keep Dallas away from series point. He will drop. Dallas looking fantastic here in Piccadilly Search and Destroy. And again, this is why they're the second best Search and Destroy team in the league.
And it can't be understated on the flip side for the Ravens. Again, we can only talk about the CDL points so many times in one series, but much more important for them to get this win, because if they fall here, they have to deal with Paris, which is not an easy match at all. And then even if they get past them, they're going to have to deal with either Dallas Empire again or the Florida Mutineers. It is not a fun road ahead if you fall short in this series. And well, it's just simply, they need the points. They really do. They got to get these 4 rounds in a row.
And to reiterate some stats, 0-3-6, Dylan 3-7, Shawnee 1-6. First blood comes through for Dallas. Dylan responds quickly. Fortunately for Illy, he's not able to find that snipers. Bomb has been planted. Dallas win this round. I'll take the series. I'll advance through in the winners. And spots Illy. There's a player right next to him. He didn't realize it was Hoop. Sneaky. Almost found himself 2. 27 seconds on the clock. 0 Shawnee and Wuskin up for London. It is a 3 versus 3. Prim at the back. He'll spot Shawnee. Shawnee, no idea Prim's there. The stun just to ensure the gunfight win. Some sloppy shots, but it doesn't matter. Crim gets the job done. Illy snipes 0. It's all down to Wuskin, as it feels like it has this entire game 5 with 7 seconds. He's really no time at all. Time beats him. Dallas Empire take game 5, 6-2. And realistically, if you're a London Royal Ravens fan, you have to ask the question, where the hell did Wuskin's teammates disappear to in that game 5?
Just outclassed. I mean, like, In my mind, they really did play out of their minds in the St. Petra Hardpoint, and you got to give them credit for that. But it does look like the tale of two different teams right now, where Empire, we've been saying it time and time again, are fighting to be the best team in the game, are definitely up there in the standings. And the Ravens, they've shown improvements, but they're still a team in my mind that has in no way, shape, or form proved that like they're capable of winning, at least not an entire tournament yet. Yes, they can be competitive. Yes, they can keep it close, but it still seems like the Ravens are just a small step behind.
Yeah, I mean, they go game 5 against Dallas.
Which is nice, again, but at this point in the year, like, you need more. You really do.
I think the more concerning thing is with how some of those games went. It's also concerning a little bit for Dallas, just the kind of blowout of the wins, really, except for game 4. Game 4 was the only one in this entire series which was close, right? And it basically just came down to a 1-second contest when you look big picture at how game 4 finished. Everything else was a blowout. So when you kind of go back and you really analyze this series and take a look at the series, I'm a little concerned for London. Losing some of the maps the way they did is a big concern. And of course, you can say the same thing for Dallas. The way they lost game number 2 was not pretty at all. Definitely some work needs to be done there on that gun runner search and destroy for them. On the flip side, though, I mean, it's the result I think many expected when you're creating your brackets, when you're trying to predict the outcome of this weekend. I think many would have had Dallas over London. Probably not in that fashion, though. A very, very weird series, Chance. A strange one to cast.
A fairly strange one, I will say, but I think in the end, the results sort of just expected. And again, this is by no means over for London. Like, they're still in the 6th seed. They're still in a great spot for the remainder of the year. But I think just a series like this, it just sort of indicates that, like, the road is going to get tougher as time goes on. Because, again, even within the own tournament, now they're going to have to go against the Paris Legion. And if they get past that, they either have to deal with the Empire again, or they have to deal with the Florida Mutineers to fight for these points. So it's that time of the year. All these matches are going to be those nail-biter game 5. Like, we're going to see so many more game 5s now than we have towards the start of the year because of how tight the competition is going to get. So Champs is going to be a bloodbath. The remainder of the year is going to be a bloodbath, and that's the time to nut up and see if you can start making those big plays. And we caught glimpses of it, I'll say, from the side of London Royal Ravens, but on a consistent basis, just better from the side of the Empire.
Oh, I want to take a look now at our Scuff Gaming play of the game there from game number 5. I believe it came in round 5, and it was Clay from the Dallas Empire. Overall, just a fantastic performance in this series through him. I actually didn't realize it was a 1v2, but it was. He shut down Scraps and then had to deal with Wuskin as well. And with 10 seconds left, Clay knew exactly where the bomb was, and he knew Wuskin had to plant or risk losing the round. And I think Wuskin just got there in time. I was a little worried right here that Clay wasn't going to find a kill, but he did. And that, of course, a big round for Dallas Empire. They go up 2-round cushion.
Yeah, no big takeaways, though. I think from the side of Empire in this series, like, expected them to be a clean, smart team capable of winning. Like, maybe a little bit shaky on the gun runner, but I still think there's something to be said for trying something new, working on different strats, trying to expand the depth of your strategy as much as you possibly can. And in this game, you are sort of grasping at straws of, like, if you're making the adjustments to try to show a lot of different things, it is micro adjustments. You are doing some small things differently. So in my mind, just a good, clean series from the Empire to try to keep the ball rolling for him.
And I want to take a look, because I know we've been emphasizing a lot about CDL points, but theoretically speaking, if the season was to end today, or I guess kind of before today started with a couple of games in the books, this is how our championship would kind of look. Now, again, to emphasize the importance of seeding, top 2, you basically start round number 3 winner's side. Okay, that is a massive advantage. So you'd have Atlanta FaZe, you'd have Chicago Huntsmen there. Then your round 2 seeds would come through. That'd be Dallas Empire and Florida Mutineers. Still in the winner's bracket, but starting in round number 1, you'd have Minnesota Rocker, Royal Ravens, OpTic Gaming, LA, and Paris Legion. Starting in the loser's bracket, however, you'd have New York Subliners, Seattle Surge, LA Guerrillas, and Toronto Ultra. And just that comparison, realistically, even just starting between winner's bracket round 1 and starting in losers is huge. You have to think those bottom 4 teams, you don't have that extra lifeline of being able to lose. Don't get me wrong, it's not a lifeline anyone wants to even use at Champs, but even so, how many times at Champs have you seen games happen where upsets have just kind of come out of the blue? It's Champs weekend. Anything can happen there. And of course, here's a look at our CDL standings presented by Game Fuel. That's how we're able to, of course, give you those kind of seeding information. And when you consider how close that bottom is, Paris Legion, New York Subliners, I mean, they're both at 60 points. OpTic Gaming LA, 70 points. things are going to change in the last few weeks that honestly could give us some absolute great storylines and some chaos as well.
I mean, agreed. Just to keep this like Raven-centric, think of the teams that are beneath them that might start working. Like you got OpTic that have been looking a lot better. New York Subliners have been working on that slow climb up the standings. Seattle have now started winning series a little bit more consistently to start their slow climb up the top. And even Gorillas just like exploded this past weekend. So I think the pressure is on all of these teams towards the bottom of the standings to try to make sure you separate and make sure you don't end up in those bottom 4.
Well, there's a look at our damage dealt in the series. Dylan, ironically, up there for London Royal Ravens, but besides that, surrounded in a Dallas Empire sandwich. It was Shotzzy that led. Now we're looking at our damage dealt presented by PlayStation 4. And I believe up next, we'll have our PlayStation Instant Reaction. Lottie is speaking to Shotzzy. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.